Let's next consider the fourth A, assist in greater detail. Let's talk about how a doctor may assist a patient to plan a quit in a practical manner when a patient is ready to quit. For people who are ready to quit or going through the quitting process, it is important for the doctor to prepare them for the three main challenges they will face: the biological, the psychological, and the social. The three big challenges to quitting: biological, that is withdrawal; psychological, that is cravings; and social, that is social influences to smoke. In the short QTI clinical videos, in the assist phase, you have seen the doctor giving quit booklets to the patients. If you have a little more time, you can discuss with the patients on the specific quit challenges that they are facing and what is possible for them to do. Physical challenges to quitting. The first role play is about how to deal with withdrawal symptoms. It is very important to give the patient an idea of how long these symptoms are likely to last, that is 2 or 4 days, and how to deal with the possible symptoms they will experience.
Doctor, I need your help desperately.
What happened? Please tell me.
As we discussed, I quit smoking. This is the third day, but I don't think I can hold on.
Tell me your problems.
I cannot sleep. I am not getting concentration. My mouth tastes very bad. I am getting irritated. I think of taking up smoking again.
You are suffering from withdrawal symptoms. Many of my patients who have quit experience these symptoms in the first few days. The good news is that these symptoms will last only for the first few days, and then you will feel much better. Your body needs to adjust back to the non-smoking status. In the initial few days, you will experience some short-term discomfort, but after that, it will get better. It is like adjusting to a new diet. When you go somewhere, the diet is different, and you may take some time to adjust to that. Isn't it?
Yes, but what can I do about it? This is very distressing.
Don't worry. I will tell you some things which my other patients have found helpful in similar situations. You can drink a lot of water when you feel the urge to smoke a cigarette. You need to walk about half an hour every day. Drinking a lot of water, as I just mentioned, is very helpful in removing that craving, as also in removing the toxic substances from your body. Having plenty of fruits and vegetables will also be helpful for you. But you should not drink too much of tea or coffee when you feel like smoking a cigarette. You can try chewing some spices to get rid of the bad taste in your mouth.
But sir, can I at least have my toilet cigarette to avoid constipation?
No, that is not a good idea. Even a single puff can lead you back to your old habit. As I said, taking long walks, drinking plenty of water, and consuming fruits and vegetables will help you prevent constipation. But if you are really concerned about this, I can prescribe you a mild laxative that you can take as required for this problem.
I am relieved to know that these symptoms are common experience and it's short-lived. I will try the measures you have suggested.
You may feel lazy or restless in the initial adjustment days. You will breathe better and also be feeling much better.
So now you see how important it is for the doctors to give patients specific advice on what they can do for specific challenges. Also explore with the patients what is possible for them to do. Psychological challenges to quitting.
Doctor, I quit smoking for 2 days now, but I terribly miss my after lunch cigarette. I have this strong desire to smoke at that time. What should I do?
This is a very common problem. If you can hold off that urge for a few minutes, it will pass away, and over a few days this will decrease. I can tell you what some of my other patients try doing when they feel this sort of urge. Some of them actually use cardamom or cloves. They chew it for some time when they feel this urge. Some others drink a whole tumbler full of water. Some of them go for a walk. Some of them call somebody and talk to them. In fact, I have a patient who sings when they feel the urge. What do you think you can do to overcome this urge when you have this problem?
I think the cloves and film song and water, I think I can do that.
Some others do deep breathing like pranayama, or if they are in the house, they watch TV. You smoke after lunch as a way of relaxing. Try to find some other way of relaxing, like calling your non-smoking friends or relatives and talking to them. Make this a new habit of relaxing and it will be helpful.
Social challenges to quitting. Social challenges need to be taken seriously. We have seen in many cases that people just cannot refuse a cigarette when it is offered by a friend or a relative. We as doctors have to prepare the patients in order to say no politely. And also we should ask them to ask the support of these friends as a measure of their friendship in order to say no to smoking.
Doctor, I really want to stop smoking. I understand now how it is interfering with me regaining my health. But doctor, the main problem is my friends. Most of them having the habit of smoking. And they are my best friends and they were with me in all my crucial problems. I spend a lot of time with them after my work. I feel uncomfortable refusing a cigarette when it is offered to me. And doctor, I don't want to lose the friendship.
What have you told your friends?
I told my friends that I was strictly advised by my doctor to stop smoking.
And how do they respond?
Two are okay with this, but others continue to offer. And then all joins. My friends says that I do not smoke much, that I have to worry. And they says that still I am strong.
And what do you do?
I take one and smoke half of it.
Remind your friends that you were strictly advised by your doctor to stop smoking because of your shortness of breath. Another thing you can try is perhaps tell them that you've made a vow to your children or to your mother or at some church or mosque or temple to stop smoking. Why don't you try one of these?
I'll think about that, but I'm not sure.
Think about what would be most effective in your situation and prepare for it. True friends are those who will support and encourage you in your decision or vow to stop smoking, don't you think?
Okay, now let's consider. What would you do when you assess the readiness to quit of a patient and is reluctant to quit, but is ready to talk to you? Here, when the patient is not ready to quit, the 5 R's are the strategies used to motivate them to do so. The 5 R's explores and enlarges the patient's perception of the risk of smoking and the benefits of quitting. They get the patient to think about the impact of their smoking not only on their lives and their family, but also about the benefits of quitting and how it will affect them if in terms of managing their illness and recovering their health, and also the social and economic aspects of quitting. The 5 R's are used to tip the balance in favor of quitting when the patient is weighing his decision in mind. The 5 R's are also used to motivate a patient from one stage to the next of readiness to quit. Relevance. Identify why quitting is personally relevant to the patients. Tie the smoking to their health issue as well as to the complications caused by it. And also tell them how nicotine affects their problem through explanation by using visualization and using analogies.
Oh doctor, smoking is not the only problem in this world. Anyway, we have to die one day.
Well, yes, we all have to die. But do you want to suffer before you die? Most smokers suffer from lung, heart or kidney disease. And it's not just them that suffer. It's those around them. Their wives, their children, their families who watch them literally throwing their lives away. And the medical expenses, it becomes a huge burden for the family.
Doctor, I'm already facing lots of problems. I have diabetes, my son have asthma. I have borrowed lot of money for the treatment. Smoking is the only solace I have.
Yes, both diabetes and asthma are made much worse by smoking or breathing in secondhand smoke.
My diabetes?
Your diabetes is affected by smoking because the nicotine in the smoke coats your blood vessels with layers of residue, and as a result the blood vessels get very small and narrow, and their capacity to carry oxygen is greatly reduced, and as a result poor blood flow. This will make you very tired. Take a look at this. See, our blood vessels are like pipes. When you smoke, a cholesterol-like substance is deposited on the wall of these pipes. As the pipes narrow and the blood flow reduces, the tissues become starved for oxygen, making it very difficult for wounds to heal. And the ends of the pipes, the fingers, the toes, the eyes, the penis, is where the most severe oxygen shortage is experienced. And these are the areas that one sees diabetic complications, isn't it? I'm talking about complications like in diabetes like gangrene, blindness, impotence. You are taking so many expensive medicines for your diabetes and they do not work optimally because of your smoking. Remember, your smoking affects all the members of the family when you smoke at home. The secondhand smoke particles remain in the air long after the smoke is seen. In fact, this could be the reason for the recurrent bouts of asthma that your son is suffering from.
I never knew that smoking is associated with the diabetes. I think this may be the reason for the numbness in my feet.
Risk. Ask the patient to identify potential risk of tobacco use and expand on the risk to get them to imagine how these risks might affect their lives and the lives of their family members in the future. For this hour, the doctor expands on the risk which the patient already imagines and asks them to think more broadly. That is, how their physical problems can translate into both economic and social risks.
Doctor, I'm not a heavy smoker. I smoke 3-4 cigarettes a day, sometimes even less.
So, what do you think? Does this smoking affect your health?
I don't think so. Smoking 3-4 cigarettes a day will not cause any problem. It is when people smoke a pack of cigarettes for years, they get cancer and heart problems and things like that.
That is not correct. Each cigarette is harmful and the harm is cumulative. For each added cigarette that you smoke, there is more harm. There are about 4,000 chemicals in each cigarette that you smoke.
Chemicals?
Some of these chemicals are those that are found in pesticides and cleaning fluids. Many of these are poisonous to many organs in your body, like the filtration system in your kidneys, the livers and the lungs. With each cigarette that you smoke, these poisonous chemicals accumulate in your body. Think of the number of cigarettes that you have smoked in the last 20 years.
4,000 chemicals? Is it true?
It is true. Also think of the large amount of money you are spending now because of your present health problems, and the even huger amounts you will have to spend if these problems increase in future. You can also think about the problems of your wife and child because of the hazards of passive smoking. Think of the frequent respiratory infection of your child.
I have never thought about my smoking this way before.
It is your decision, but do you want to gamble with your ability to pay for your children's education and their marriage for the short-lived pleasure of 3 to 4 cigarettes a day?
Next R is reward. The doctor asks the patients to identify potential benefits of quitting and expands on these benefits to tip the balance in favor of quitting by offering positive outcomes to imagine.
You have succeeded to stop smoking for 2 weeks. That's great, sir. What do you think helped you really?
Doctor, I had remembered what you had told me about the risk for my heart and kidneys. And my father suffered heart problems as he was a smoker. And I also remembered what you had told me about the second-hand smoke for my wife and kid. I pushed myself to stop. And now I won't allow my friends to even smoke in my house.
Have you felt any benefits after 2 weeks of quitting?
Yes, doctor, I do feel better and my wife is so happy. And you know, doctor, I used to cough a lot during the first week and now it is decreasing. And I am feeling comfortable in breathing. One more thing, I am enjoying my food more.
Yes, the benefits will only increase the longer you stay quit. At present, your body is cleaning and recovering itself. The coughing is helping to clear the impurities from the lungs. In the first week, the coughing is a good thing.
Yes, doctor, I hope I can stay quit for a long time. But forgetting smoking, it's too difficult. Telling you, I still have the desire to smoke.
No, but I believe that you can stay quit. And even when the desire to smoke comes, think of the benefits you have got. Think of your family, your child. Think of it as an investment for the future. It's a great thing you're doing. I believe that you can be a role model for all those who are thinking of quitting.
The next R is roadblocks. The doctor first asks the patients to identify the barriers or the obstacles which prevents them from quitting smoking. Then the doctor will help the patient problem solve and to identify the methods by which these problems can be or the barriers can be addressed. Here it is important to note that we have to look into three main types of barriers: the physical, the psychological and the social. Physical.
What is preventing you from quitting smoking?
I had quit smoking before, but I couldn't hold on because of many problems.
What problems did you have?
I could not sleep or concentrate. My mouth was dry all the time and food was tasting very bad. I couldn't hold on. I had frequent headaches and I was irritable. So after 3 days I started smoking again.
You were suffering from withdrawal symptoms. Similar symptoms are reported by many of my patients who have just stopped smoking. The good news is that these symptoms last only for a few days. One experiences these symptoms strongest in the first 48 hours and then they get less and less. If you had held on for another 2 or 3 days, you would have been considerably better. A smoker's body needs to adjust back to the non-smoking status. It takes some time for the adjustment. It is like adjusting to a new diet. If you go to a new place, it will take some time for you to get adjusted to the new diet. There will be discomfort for a few days only.
But doctor, what can I do about it? This is very distressing.
Don't worry. Let me suggest some things which my patients have told help in such situations. Let us see if any of these are helpful to you. Firstly, you need to walk at least half an hour daily. You can walk at the time when you feel most like having a cigarette. Second, you need to take lot of fluids and fruits, especially citrus fruits. Thirdly, chew some spices like cardamom or cloves to offset the bad taste in your mouth. As for the irritability, for the first few days, can you think of a place where you can go and spend some time quietly? Or maybe can you listen for music for some time?
Yes, doctor. I can walk in the morning before work or in the evening. I can drink more water or coffee and I'll carry spices with me.
I advise against increased tea or coffee consumption until you have adjusted back.
Okay, doctor, I can do that. As for the quiet place, there is a temple near my house. I can go there and sit there and be alone, I suppose.
Don't worry. Let's be positive. The first few days are the most difficult when the withdrawal symptoms are the maximum. Now you know what is ahead of you when you are trying to quit. Here are some booklets that will help you to understand more about this. Please read through them and try to quit. We will meet again in 2 weeks. All the best.
Psychological.
Doctor, I have tried quitting cigarette for a week, but I missed my after lunch cigarette terribly. I desperately want to smoke at that time and could not hold on more than a week.
Many of my patients who quit have reported that they have had to fight the urge to smoke. This urge actually would last a few minutes, so it's very important that you keep your mind off the cigarette and find some distraction. What do you think helped you when you had this urge to smoke?
Doctor, I watched cricket on TV and it helped me.
Yes, other patients have reported that watching TV helps, and perhaps talking on the phone, listening to music. And when at work and you have to fight the urge, you can try chewing cardamom or gum or cloves, anything that will keep you distracted. When you feel like smoking, follow these 4 Ds. Delay or postpone the feeling to smoke. Drink water slowly. Deep breathing. Do something else to overcome the urge, like watching TV, phone a friend, or go for a walk.
Yes, doctor, I can try these things. But doctor, when I feel stress, the urge to smoke is also strong.
Yes, but how much of relief does it give you? How many minutes?
Maybe 10 minutes.
Only 10 minutes? It does not seem like smoking is a very effective way of fighting stress. What if I gave you a medicine which gave you relief only for 10 minutes but with serious side effects? Would you take it? Use smoke as a way of taking your mind off problems and relaxing. But perhaps you need to find another way to do that. Play with your children, talk to your non-smoking friends, listen to music, anything that will keep your mind off the urge to smoke.
Social.
Oh doctor, it is really hard to quit smoking. My friends meet regularly and we used to smoke together, and it's our routine for the last many years. They are my best friends and bear with me for my crucial situations, and really I don't want to lose their friendship.
What have you told your friends about your need to quit smoking for your health? They can see you have shortness of breath. Have you told them that your doctor has advised you seriously about quitting smoking?
I have not said anything about that. I just tell them that I am thinking about quitting. But they continue offering cigarettes to me, and it is hard to refuse an offer from a friend.
No, it is very important that you tell your friends that your doctor has strongly advised you against smoking due to your shortness of breath. Otherwise, it can cause you serious complications.
No doctor, then they will just tell me to smoke less or use a milder brand.
Tell them that if you smoke even one more cigarette, you will want to smoke more, and you can no longer do this. Some people make vows to their children, to their spouses or parents at a temple or mosque or church to stop smoking, and they ask their friends to help them honor this vow.
Yes doctor, I can try.
True friends will support any quit attempt of yours, especially when they see that it endangers your health. I'm sure they will also help you honor any promise you've made. What do you think? If a friend asked you for support, wouldn't you lend him your support? Would you give up a friendship merely because someone doesn't smoke with you?
The last R is repetition. A doctor should repeat motivational messages each time they see a patient, building on the last communication and also responding to the changes in the patient's life, which can offer an opportunity to consider quitting. Repetition by a doctor shows the patient how important a quit is and prompts a try again if they have not been successful till now. It also opens the door to further discussion about the roadblocks and how to overcome it. If they have been successful, a doctor can reinforce the importance of remaining quit and also give them positive feedback on their efforts.
Good morning. You have finished your course of antibiotics. What about your cough?
Phlegm has reduced, but I still have cough.
Okay. What about your smoking?
Sorry doctor, I couldn't stop smoking completely, but I quit smoking within my house.
Good. At least you stopped smoking in front of your family members and exposing them to your smoke. That is commendable.
I have taken all the medicines as you told me, but I still have shortness of breath. There is no relief. Is there any other medicine I should take?
As we had discussed last time, your cough is related to your smoking. Our lung tissue is lined by very small, delicate hairs that prevent dust and organisms from entering and harming our lungs. Smoking destroys these tiny hairs and results in damage of the lungs. This can cause cough and shortness of breath. However, if you stop smoking, these delicate hairs will recover and your lungs may return to their normal level. It is not too late yet, but if you do not stop smoking now, then the damage may be permanent. You should think seriously of quitting before that is no longer possible. Your shortness of breath and cough are warning signals.
It's very difficult for me to stop smoking, doctor. It helps me stay awake during my night shift. I will try to reduce smoking. I used to smoke 10 cigarettes per day. Now I am smoking 5 to 6. I will try to reduce even more.
Very good. Cut down as much as possible for now. And when you are ready to quit completely, I am here to help you.
Now you have learned the 5 A's of tobacco cessation, how to assess a patient's readiness to quit, and how to use the 5 R's in case the patient needs to be motivated to quit. Let us go into 4 final things you have to bear in mind during cessation counseling. Remember to establish the relevance of your quit advice by describing to the patient how smoking affects their specific health condition. During Project QTI, we have found that patients are very much interested in knowing how tobacco affects their different organs and the physiological systems, how it leads to certain symptoms and complications in the body, and how the nicotine in the cigarettes reduces the medicine effectiveness. Having an image leads patients to think more about quitting. Use of visuals and analogies can make a big difference. Whenever possible, try to help the patient to visualize how smoking is affecting their illness or an illness experienced by their family members. Use pictures or analogies to explain to patients in ways that they can imagine. For example, you could say that heart is a pump, or that the lungs, kidney or liver are filters, or that the vascular system are pipes which get clogged and reduce in size due to the deposition of residue and fat during smoking due to the effect of nicotine. When these blood vessels or pipes get narrowed, it will increase the pressure within the pump and also reduce the nutrients and oxygens going to the body tissues. Also, when there is a clogging of the residue within the filters, it prevents the removal of toxins from the body. Thus, these kind of images and analogies help patients to understand the effect of tobacco on the heart, lungs, kidney or the vascular system. Secondly, negotiate action. Always explore what actions a person feels they can take towards quitting and see as doable. Find a concrete step they can take as movement in the right direction. First, help the patients to identify what the step might look like and then get them to set the plan in motion. If there is no immediate quit, at least try to cut down on the cigarettes as a first step towards quitting. sit with the patient and try to identify which cigarettes they can give up and what they will do instead of smoking. These kind of planning with the patients will help them to increase their self-efficacy. Thirdly, many patients have mixed feelings and doubts about quitting smoking. Ambivalence offers doctors a chance to motivate a patient and tip the balance in favor of a quit. Illness is often a time of ambivalence and as such is a teachable moment. Most patients see both benefits and losses in the process of quitting. It is important for us to show them that the benefits outweigh the losses in terms of what is most important to them in their life. For example, we have to present the behavior change as gaining something positive rather than losing a habit or something which gave them pleasure before. For example, it could be gaining one's health, or it could be the ability to go and work harder, or the ability to stand up as a role model before the children, and so on. Fourthly, always roll with resistance. If you're confronted by a patient who's reluctant to quit or who challenges you about the need to quit, please do not dismiss or scold that patient, or else you will lose the chance to talk further about smoking in future. Use the momentum of his argument to lead him to a different possible conclusion. Smoking is a part of our culture. If a patient suggests to you that smoking and the exchange of cigarette among friends is an important part of our culture, you can counter this by asking them that in our culture, it's a man's responsibility to look after the welfare of his wife, children, and parents. Isn't that of a greater cultural value? If you fall sick from smoking, how will you fulfill your family responsibilities? Another example we see is that I have seen so many old people smoking for years. How can you say that smoking is so harmful? There, you could counter it by saying that those could be the lucky ones. There are so many old people who are critically ill or have died because of this habit. These are seen by doctors like myself on a daily basis. Doctor, we all die one day and die of something. To this you could say, yes, that's true. But the question is, what kind of death do you want? Do you want a slow and painful death with much suffering, or an easy death? Most of the people who have diseases due to smoking do not die quickly. They have slow and painful suffering like breathing problems or heart diseases, or they could have complications of diabetes like gangrene or amputation of foot, or cancers, or they could even have a bedridden life due to stroke. Here, not only the person suffers, but also the family who lives with them.